Welcome to the podcast series, Small Business Survival Conversations. Through our weekly conversations, we hope to provide you with strategies and insights, knowledge and expertise to enlighten you as you work to build and grow your business. Here are your hosts, Anna Steinfest and Dr. Michael Troyer.
Hello, everyone. It's good you're with us today on Small Business Survival Conversations. I'm here with my colleague, Anna Steinfest. Good morning, Anna.
Hello, Michael.
And we want to give you some quick thoughts to just remind you, we don't know yet whether a recession is going to hit us with all that's going on in the world, the inflation, the uncertainties, etc. So we thought we'd just give you a quick reminder of things to pay attention to as the economy moves forward. And we're not predicting which direction it's going to go. So a quick action guide to coping with uncertainty.
Yes, just because humans are wired to fear uncertainty, but sometimes it is helpful to remember that uncertainty is the portal to possibilities. So don't forget that. I know that we get very nervous about what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, how it's going to impact our business. That's what we care about in our podcasts. But we just wanted to share with you some reminders and just to make sure that you reduce your anxiety this morning.
Yes. I'd start with the simple idea that you want to continue to think about managing your cash flow and your debt position and your payroll.
Absolutely.
Those are things to pay more attention to, given the uncertainty that we face out there. And we can talk in much more detail another day, but those are things to stay on top of and to talk with your immediate colleagues about.
Yes. And, audit. I know that sometimes we're very busy and we don't have time for this, but you know what? Now is the time. We're just giving you reminders. You have to do it all the time. But as you know, when you get everything is going smooth and everything is running correctly, sometimes we forget to go back and check the cash position, to go back and check, do we have more debt that we shouldn't? Because if we are thinking that we'll go into uncertain times, being too leveraged, or what does it mean is it means that you have too much debt. If your sales go down, are you still able to pay your debt? I mean, all these little things, and we can go in details in another episode, but we just wanted to throw at you some things you should be checking right now.
I have a client, for example, who not only is he looking ahead to the uncertainty that we have, but he also knows he's a seasonal business and the slow season is upon him. So he's made some very difficult decisions. His focus is to keep his talent, for example, but to manage his payroll and thus manage his cash and debt position. And so he's made some very difficult, painful choices in a couple of instances, because he knows those have to come anyways because of the season. But he's also, we're talking a lot about the uncertainty up ahead and laying out possibilities, scenarios, as strategists like to talk about it. All right.
Make sure that you check that. Check all the options, whether Michael was saying, termination, layoffs, furloughs, compensation reduction, and put together more of a scenario, how this will impact your cash flow and your business. How many team or core team members you should keep if time is getting tough. Again, maybe it's not, but it's always good to have like a scenario.
A scenario. When would the time be such that I need to take this action? I'm not taking it now, but I want to have it in my head and thought out. And that's what my client was doing. So he's trying to be out ahead of that uncertainty a bit. Part of that is also communicating with a wide cross section of people to see what they're seeing and compare it to what you're seeing, because I'm limited. I'm only got my eyes and my ears, but Anna's eyes and ears are better than mine in some instances, and I can learn things from her if I just ask and then listen carefully. She has a different perspective. So communicate with your advisors, communicate with your investors.
And I know that we have talked about this, Michael, in some other episodes, but I will remind our listeners about talk to your vendors, because your suppliers, they supply not only you, but probably they supply your competition, and they want you to be in business, because if you're out of business, that will reduce their sales. It doesn't matter that they're supplying your competition, but they will tell you how your competition is preparing for this uncertainty. So, talk to them.
Two other key groups I think you need to talk to. One is employees. If you feel if things are uncertain up ahead, they do too. So you need to let them know that you are thinking about where the firm is going. You are thinking about the uncertainty ahead, and reassure them. And in fact, bring them into the conversation. What are they hearing? What are they thinking? What are their concerns? Let them know that you're paying attention to their uneasiness along with your own, because that keeps them connected with you and engaged, and it reassures them that you're paying attention to that. And you don't want your good talent leaving because they think you aren't paying any attention to what's going on. Second group I'd propose you to talk to is your customers.
Yes. How are they preparing for this uncertainty? Absolutely, Michael. We forget. I mean, I think if you ask the business owners, they will say, hey, I all the time talk to my customers. Yes, but you know what? Right now you have a little bit of a different questions you will be asking them. And I mean, you maybe already noticed their pulse because they might have started reducing the services with you, or if you're providing supplies, they may start reducing their supplies, and all these little hints. But, just ask them, what are you doing to prepare for the uncertainty?
And think of the power of that customer hearing you ask them about what you're seeing. You've built a stronger relationship with that customer because you value their input and how they see this uncertainty. And I like what Anna just said too. If you discover they're about to cut way back on their purchases from you, you have a chance to talk about, well, how could we work this out? Maybe we adjust the payables. Maybe we adjust the price. Maybe we get a discount going for the time being to keep you close to us. And maybe to reassure you don't have to take that big step just at this moment. You might discover things, in other words, that you wouldn't have otherwise heard until it was too late.
And Michael, I would like to add to this list. I mean, there's probably some other people you should be talking, but the list I think a lot of times we forget about is our family. Because I know that our listeners are small business owners. We know that every single time there is like uncertainty or something going on in our business, we go home and it's a small family. A lot of you probably, it's a family-owned business. So you work with your spouse or partner or with family member. Make sure that you communicate to them, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is how our business is. And again, we are not saying that we're going in recession, but it is always nice just to have always a backup plan.
In all of this, and what's so important, what Anna just said about the family too, in all of this, we're keeping the important people in the loop. So we haven't declared a recession for sure yet, but the fact that you're concerned and paying attention reassures them that you're sharing with them where you see things, and you get some feedback from them. Very important.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Michael, but communication is extremely important part. We prepare everything else, but we forget the communication because we get so busy of everyday business life. But communicating, it's important. And I'll give you an example. When you communicate to your banker that this is what I have done, I audited my cash flow, I audited my payroll, I did all these steps. Guess what? If you need additional funding, the banker will know that you know how to manage your business, and they will give you money even during uncertain times, rather than they're coming and chasing you. Hey, you know what? Why your cash flow is low? Why this is happening?
Yeah. I'm going to close now, and it's going to really replay all the things we've talked about. So in a period of uncertainty, research and study and other analysts have said that there are certain top performers that do things that the average business doesn't do. It all plays back into what we're talking about. One of them is understand your customers. So we just said communicate with them so you understand where they are. That's part of understanding your customers, why they buy from you, how they see you as valuable. You need to be prepared to take risks. As you were opening this, I was thinking of my favorite analogy. I'm in a race car and I'm approaching the fourth turn, about to get onto the straightaway. I can look at it two ways. I've got 3 cars ahead of me, oh, I'd better slow up because it might become too jammed up, or this is a time for me to pass. So I prepare myself to go out to the outside and go around them. Which are you? Are you going to hit the brakes and maybe lose the race, or you're going to take a risk and go after it while the chance is there? That's another part of being that top performer, seeing your opportunities, as Anna said at the very beginning. That means also that we favor action over perfection. I'm one of those who wants to get it all right in place, perfect, and I delay things. Sometimes you just got to act.
I'm totally opposite. I will act, and if something needs to be corrected, I go back and correct it. So that's why we're good partners.
We balance each other out. Yes, very much so. I think you need to focus on the long term too. This is the time when the stock market's been so volatile that I call my financial advisor and say, should I sell my shares of stock? And I know better than to call and ask her that. But we have the tendency to think, oh boy, are we in a bad position? But I know what she's going to say. Michael, you got into your investments for the long haul. Sit, be quiet, ride your good stocks. Yes, focus on the long term.
Thank you, everyone. Hopefully we gave you 1 or 2 ideas today. We will be with you next time. Have an awesome day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Small Business Survival Conversation podcast. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. And don't forget to join us next week for another episode. In the meantime, hook up with us on our Facebook group at Small Business Survival Tools and Tips. Till next time, thank you for listening.